Welcome to Falcon Focus, episode number 16, our fourth episode here in the second semester. We were on cuwfalcons.com, and in segment number 2, men's volleyball about to begin their fourth season of existence. In fact, they're in action tonight against Carthage. We'll talk with their fourth-year head coach, Curtis Matson. But up first, we talk women's tennis, and being joined by Ricky Budowitz, a junior on the women's tennis team. My name is Matt Mendel. Thanks for joining us. And women's tennis gets underway this weekend. They will be at North Central coming up on Saturday, the 13th of February. Ricky, thanks for your time. You know, I ask all of our guests because, coming out of this COVID-19 era, just how excited are you to finally get back onto the court of competition this weekend?
I'm very excited. The last match that we played was almost a year and a half ago. Obviously, we didn't know it was going to be our last match of the year, but that's just kind of how things went, obviously. And during the fall, we didn't really get any matches in, so I'm very excited that we'll be able to start in the spring again.
Well, let's jump into our hot tub time machine and go back about a year and a half ago. Last time the women's tennis team was in action, last fall back in 2019. And the team ended up finishing with 10 victories, a couple of defeats, 8 victories, and 1 blemish in conference play before COVID-19 canceled the spring portion of the season, including the Hilton Head, South Carolina trip. But I guess overall, when you look back at the fall, how do you feel the season went for the team?
I think it went pretty well. Obviously, we wish we could have won the last match, but I think that gave us motivation to continue working hard over the winter season and then obviously into the spring. But I think that with we had a few freshmen on the team. I think that they played really well for their first year playing college tennis. I think that we had really good chemistry, and I think that we could have won a few more matches, but I think overall it was a good season.
Always curious to hear the different teams' stories as to how they found out their season was canceled. So I guess to kind of take us back to that March time frame, and when did you find out? How did you find out? What was your reaction to the fact the spring season was canceled?
Yeah, so the week before our spring break, we had indoor practices, and we're kind of getting ready for a spring break. And then a few days before we were supposed to leave, our coach said that a lot of other schools were canceling their spring break, but we didn't think ours would be canceled, especially that close to it. And then we got the call that spring break was canceled, but we didn't know if the whole season would be canceled or everything. So then we just kind of got the email that everything was canceled. But we did have one last practice where we're we don't know if we're going to come back after this. So we had that with the men's and women's team. So that was kind of nice. Just it was a good way to wrap it up in case that was our final practice for the year.
I know it's something you can't control, but how bummed were you that you lost out on a trip to Hilton Head, South Carolina?
Yeah, my freshman year spring break was very fun. We went down to Florida, but I was really looking forward to going to Hilton Head with the team. So that was a disappointment, but hopefully next year we'll be able to have a spring break.
Now, I feel like, anyways, tennis is a sport that you can't play socially distanced. You got the net in between the pair. Obviously, if you're playing doubles, it's a different story. But with that being said, were you able to play a lot of tennis still, maybe, just for fun throughout the summer months into the fall to kind of keep yourself in that tennis frame of mind?
Yeah, so where I'm from, we have just a tennis league that anyone in the community can join. So they were able to put that on again this year that I was able to be in. So that was just once a week playing. But other than that, not too much. In the fall we were able to practice the 5 days a week again, but no matches. So it was definitely a lot less than I was used to, just because there aren't as many things open. And the tennis courts were locked for a few months in the beginning of quarantine last year. So that was a little difficult. But obviously just being able to just hit against a wall or working out can still help a little bit.
Well, obviously, you hope that a season is going to start up again. And back in the fall, it did not. And then finally, the schedule coming out that, again, the Falcons will be back in action here in February. Was there ever a doubt in your mind at some point during the school year that we may never play tennis again, at least not this school year? Or did you always have that hope that we would get back on the court at some point soon?
I think I always had the hope that we would play again. Obviously, our coach kept reminding us, this might be the last day we practice. Like, you need to practice every day like it's your last and have, like, the energy. Especially, like, the first week of our tryouts week, he's like, I don't know how long this is going to last, like, if we're even going to have, like, a fall season, or, like, when everybody comes back to school, if we're just going to be sent home right away. So there was definitely a little fear, but I think that I was pretty hopeful and, like, kind of figured that we would have some sort of a season. So
Let's go back to your play in the fall of 2019. You played at number 1 singles in 8 of 11 matches. You also played at number 1 doubles. You were selected all conference in singles and doubles. How do you feel your sophomore year went? What were you most proud of, I guess, in year number 2 at the collegiate level?
That's a good question. I would say I was most proud of just how we came, like, just playing as a team, and, like, obviously I had a new doubles partner, so I think that we had really good chemistry, and we came together really well. With her being a freshman and me a sophomore, obviously 2 underclassmen, it was a little bit difficult. And also, we only had 1 senior last year, Becca Spiegelhoff, and I think that it was a little difficult because we didn't have any juniors, so we didn't really, the underclassmen kind of overpowered, like, the presence of, like, an upperclassman that they would bring, but obviously Becca was a great leader. So I think that we did really well for having a younger team last year.
We'll talk about the chemistry, too, with a doubles partner, because you've had 2 different doubles partners so far in your first couple of years, soon to be a third. But is it an honor for you to move up? Okay, freshman year, you played at number 3 singles, to move up to number 1 by year 2?
Yeah. Obviously, it's a big step up. It's definitely different from 3 singles to 1 singles, and even 2 singles to 1 singles. So it's definitely a change. Obviously, an honor also, like you said. But I think that any spot is just as important, so it's not really too much of a difference.
So looking at your sophomore year, is there 1 or 2 matches or performances that maybe stand out among the rest for you?
Yeah, so one match that, like, I remember as, like, a good thing was the one against MSOE, where I felt that I wasn't technically supposed to win, like, she was just a better player. But I think that I won in, like, a tiebreak or something. Like, it wasn't a match decider or anything exciting like that. But I think that gave me the confidence. That was, like, early in the season, so I think that gave me the confidence to realize that I was able to play at 1 singles, and maybe that was where I belonged.
Let's talk about your doubles play now. And you mentioned new doubles partner your sophomore year, playing with freshman Julia Vitale after playing with Bailey Kelly as a freshman. Does that take some time? You talk about chemistry. Does it take some time getting used to, playing with alongside somebody and getting used to what their skill set may be?
Yeah. It was a little difficult at first. Like, the tryouts week, we play with, like, we rotate between different partners, and then ultimately we just kind of give our input, and then with coach, and he kind of just puts us where he thinks that we would play best. But with Julie, I think we had good complementing styles of play, and we played a little similar in some areas, but also our styles went well together. And it also helped that Julia was a doubles player in high school, so she, like, knew the game and kind of knew where to go off of where I went. So I think it does take a little bit to get the chemistry, but I don't think it took us that long to build that.
Well, you bring up a good point. I was going to ask you about the whole process, how that works. How do you figure out who your doubles partner is going to be? And you kind of, shed some light into that. And I guess let's take it a little bit step further, and you look at practices, okay? So you get the opportunity to maybe play with a few other players to kind of figure out who might be your doubles partner. What are you, I guess, looking for in a doubles partner?
I look for someone who just, like, their effort, I guess, during practice, and then, like, during a match, because if they show that they truly want to be there at practice, they're going to put that effort into the match. Also someone who, I'm not a very aggressive player, so someone who might be more aggressive, and also someone who can, like, lift me up, and, like, we can help build each other up during the match and, like, in between points, because during singles, you're obviously the only person on the court, and, like, while it is a team sport and your team can cheer you on, like, singles, you're out there by yourself, whereas with doubles, you kind of can work with your partner and just help build each other up, and it's not just by yourself, I guess.
Well, mention your freshman year, okay, you played doubles with freshmen with Bailey Kelly that freshman year, and in that same year you were named the NAC Freshman of the Year. And when you look at okay, year one at the collegiate level, was there a sizable adjustment that you had to make going from the prep level to the collegiate game? Was there a big adjustment, or was it, an easy, smooth transition?
I think that just talking with the older players, that helped a lot. It was a little bit difficult at first, just because of how much we were playing and just like the faster level, because it is obviously a higher level. But just during the summer, talking with people and playing with people who had played at the collegiate level helped a lot. So it wasn't too difficult, I would say, but it was definitely a step up.
Well, in your high school days, a Watertown Gosling, you went to state a couple of times. First of all, I have to ask. Okay, we have Freddie the Falcon. Does the Gosling have a nickname? Do you have a mascot? Does a Gosling walk around?
Yeah, we do have a Gosling mascot. I don't know if it has. I think its name is Gus.
Ooh, Gus the
I
Gosling.
think, if I remember correctly. But he never showed up to any tennis matches.
Whoa.
So
Got to get on that, Gus the Gosling. Missing from tennis, but you qualified as a Watertown Gosling for state twice. How memorable were those experiences?
Very memorable from my high school experience. My junior year, I had actually lost the state qualifying match, but then I got the special qualifier for the sectional. And then the next year, my senior year, I played that girl again, and I was ranked like one spot higher than her, and then I actually beat her my senior year to actually make it to state by winning the match. So that was really cool.
Is it weird for you to think that, okay, you look at your accomplishments at Watertown, conference-wise too, you're part of a conference that no longer exists now. The Wisconsin Little 10 Conference has since gone its separate direction. The schools have gone different places with conference realignments. Is that kind of weird to think, like, you're part of history and now a conference that doesn't even exist?
Yeah, it is. It's weird to think of all the different teams that we played, like my freshman, sophomore, junior year, and then I think it was my senior year they stopped the conference, and then we joined the new one that we didn't even play like half of those teams anymore. So all of our old rivalries were kind of just taken apart from there.
I saw when you were playing for Gus's Goslings that you were also in track and field for a little bit in high school. Was tennis always, I guess, your main sport, your top sport, or did you try other sports besides track and field at various points in your life?
Well, I started playing tennis the summer before my freshman year of high school. So
For the first time?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did a lot of sports, just I wasn't very committed to any of them. I just kind of liked playing sports, so I kind of just wanted to do as much as I could. But once I got to high school, I decided on tennis, and that was like my main sport that I played all 4 years. And then I played basketball for 2 years, or my freshman, sophomore year, and then just track my senior year just for fun. So, I mean, it's basically always been tennis.
So why did you decide right before your freshman year to attempt tennis?
So my brother played collegiate tennis, and he actually went here. So he just decided that he would coach me over the summer and teach me how to play, which it was frustrating for both of us in the beginning. But I think that we both learned something from that. So that's basically the only reason why I decided. I never picked up a racket before then or anything like that, but I just really enjoyed it since then.
So what is it about the sport that you love so much?
I enjoy just like, I don't really know what it is. I like a lot of things, different things about it. Whether it's just like singles and doubles, like singles, you can be out there by yourself and like make your own decisions, and like your actions aren't like, if I make a mistake, it's not like letting the entire team down per se in that one moment. And also just like the endurance part of it, I guess, like just like the running and like having to get to every ball, which is like a lot of sports. But I don't know, I just really like just like the thought process of it and like the shot selection and everything. So yeah, that's kind of why I like it.
Well, the exciting part is you get to be back on the court and competing here this upcoming weekend. Final couple of questions. We look ahead to this 2021 season. Okay, you look at the roster. It's either all freshmen or juniors. 6 freshmen, 6 juniors. How's practice look so far for this team?
it's a little difficult since we're indoors, and we can only have 4 people per court.
Okay.
So we have to switch off practice times because we can't have everybody there at every practice. So that's been a little bit difficult. And since we're indoors, we can only practice for an hour and a half or so. Whereas if we're outside, we can go for as long as we need. So that's been a little bit difficult. And now that our first match is on Saturday, we've only had about like 2 or 3 weeks of practice now. So that'll definitely be different, and this week is very important in preparing for the match. But yeah, so it's kind of been hard to get everybody there at one time and focus on just the different like individual aspects of the game, I guess.
And looking at the schedule, mentioned, okay, Saturday, taking on North Central on the road, and then the first home matchup coming up on February the 26th against the Saints of St. Scholastica, and then conference opener coming up April 3rd against Marion. Let's wrap it up. What goals do you have for yourself? Maybe what goals do you have for the team in this 2021, this unique 2021 season?
Yeah, well, obviously, just in general, I'm just very thankful that we're able to even have any matches this year and this semester because obviously I think I kind of took that for granted in the past. But I just really hope that we, as a team, just like that the effort is always there and that because we do we never know if that's going to be our last match. We already had a match cancellation or like rescheduled, hopefully, for this semester. So I hope that just as a team we're able to make the most of each match and learn from each match. Individually, I would say just to continue to become a better leader and an example for my teammates. And just to have a good season and just learn from it, I guess.
Well, Ricky, thanks a lot for your time here, and all the best of luck this season, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
More to come here on Falcon Focus. We turn our attention to men's volleyball and their head coach, Curtis Madsen.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
Welcome back to Falcon Focus. Got to make sure that we are keeping it safe. Got the hand sanitizer. And Coach, would like some? There you go. There you go. And I'll make sure we spray the air and we can breathe in the disinfectant spray. And again, we got the masks on. Him and I are as socially distanced as we can get with this table. And we are ready to rock and talk men's volleyball as season number 4 gets underway tonight, 7 p.m. They serve up set 1. My goodness. Set 1 out of the best of 5 against host Carthage. And let's go back and talk about year number 3 and the unfinished season, if you will. I guess, how disappointing were you? Obviously, you can control what you can control, and we can't control a pandemic. But, okay, 8 victories, 7 defeats, 2-3 in league play. I know you had some high expectations going from year 2 to year number 3, but I guess how disappointed are you that you never really got to see that season finish out?
You know, we were disappointed in the moment. We've just kind of put it behind us and moved on. I hate to say that, but we've had to put a ribbon on it. That's the season. We'll take our winning record. Obviously, we'd like the conference record to be a little better, but we're front loaded with some of the top teams in the NAC, so we understand where it is, and now we just kind of. It is the season that was, and we have to move on. And tonight we get to go back 3 days short of 11 months off the court. We get to get back on and start a new season, and it's kind of where we moved. Because honestly, if we dwell on it anymore, it's we've had that time, and so yeah, we're just looking forward to getting started tonight.
And that last match you played was back on March 11th behind us here against MSOE. So what have you been up to, I guess, since March 11th in preparation now for the 2021 season?
Kind of relearning how we do everything. Obviously, things were a lot different with the fall season, with a lot of different regulations and rules and working through things. And thankfully soon, sorry about that, thankfully we've gotten into a more rhythm where we can kind of have more typical practices and do that. So, we're just working in the new guys, getting the guys back, getting just back to focus, getting back worked into it. Yesterday felt real good. Going back through a pre-match day again for the first time in a long time, and it's starting to feel a little bit more normal. Even though, there are a lot of things that are different, but it's just getting back to that. This is what we do, where we're at. It's going to feel good to get on the bus. It's going to feel good to get through that first warm up, and have that first serve hit, and just trying to get ourselves refocused and locked into that. We've got a year to approach, and kind of block out all the different things, because at the end of the day, everybody else is going through the same things we're going through. We talk about how our guys are lucky. I mean, the East Coast is still figuring out what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
We're lucky we're getting matches in, we're getting to play. So just kind of prepping and getting ready like any other regular season, with a couple hurdles.
I know from a recruiting standpoint, too, it's been a little bit different because you haven't been able to necessarily get to any matches, at least back in the fall, for high school in person. But, now every school pretty much offers a webcast of some kind, so it seems like you've been able to see your fair share of volleyball matches and maybe wouldn't normally because of the webcast capability.
Yeah, I enjoyed being able to recruit with you during Cedarburg on your calls on those Cedarburg matches while we were watching some of those.
Let somebody watch those.
Hey, I kept it easy on you on the text too.
Yeah, no, she thinks.
But it's been interesting. The changes have been tough, but it's been great. Evan and I, we tend to get out a lot, and what it's allowed us was we actually were able to see more matches than we've seen before. It's just the different in-person situations. I mean, we would come in in the morning and be able to watch 5 matches a day, from the night before. And if we caught one the night before, on that, we could get 6 matches in and still get a practice in and do that. Where obviously when we were out on the road, we had to prioritize where we were going and really make a schedule better there. So I mean, there were different things to work out. And the second segment of Wisconsin volleyball is going to get kicked up here soon. I think in 2 weeks, I see that they'll be up and starting running, and so we'll be back to kind of working that into our schedule here. And obviously the club circuit's been a little bit different, but it's just involved a lot more communication. We've been lucky that some clubs have been able to let us into practices, and some events are allowing recruiters to them. We've been utilizing more live stream situations. I'm not going to plug any certain program, but there's a program that's used that we can get access and up to 30 days to go back and rewatch matches and do stuff. So it's it's been a learning curve, but I hope some of these live streams and things still stick around, because it's been extremely beneficial to still be able to see the kids play and do things like that.
As far as the here and now, again, going back to season opener tonight, Carthage, do the expectations for now year number 4 differ from, say, what you might have had going into year number 3, being that you're coming off a shortened season? You've had a longer off season. Now you're trying to focus back on playing, or do you continue with the high expectations, looking to continue to grow the program? Yeah,
we want to continue to build and grow. Obviously, we're kicking it off with an extremely good opponent. Carthage is playing really well right now. They're definitely a test for us, but we also, every year we're out here, we're trying to get better, we're trying to grow. So yeah, we're, just because, everyone gets a waiver on a year and everything, we're not punting on this year. We're still trying to be as competitive as we can in the matches we get and play where we can, and just try to continue to improve and grow where we go. So our guys are focused. This is our season. It's the schedule we have, and we're going to do the best we can with that schedule. And we're not going to play the what-if game or any of that other stuff. And, so, I mean, we're out to try to be as competitive as we can in the matches that we get. And, the good thing about the NAC is we're going to have a lot of competitive matches while we go through. So the good, where I find it beneficial is that due to the pandemic, we're not losing that high end of competition that we get. And so we have to hold ourselves to that high standard to be competitive where we're at, because again, I believe that we play in one of the best conferences in the country. And so just playing there, we're going to get a lot more matches against high end opponents. So we also don't get other matches to go. So, I mean, our guys have to understand that there's going to be some struggle this year, and we're going to have to push through and go through it, because that's our schedule. And we're looking forward to it.
And I do want to talk about the schedule, and we will as we go along, because as you mentioned, you get one non-conference tune-up, and then, as you mentioned, you get right into the grind of the next schedule. But you look at this roster, up and down, a lot of familiar names over the last now couple of years with this program. I guess who are among some of the returnees that you're going to be looking toward to maybe help carry the load, especially early on as you try to blend in those new 3 freshmen?
Yeah, I mean, we actually bring back a lot of depth now. We've been building and kind of rolling where it is, and we've had a lot of good position battles going on. Our libero position, Ryan and Turner have been fighting back and forth every day. They're doing real well. We're looking to see what each one of them can bring in a match setting for us. We bring back Matt Corman, comes back as a graduate student for us. So that's huge, to kind of give some time for Nathan Petrus to kind of learn the ropes of the college game there with the freshmen. Jeremy Teice has been working real hard ever since he got in here. I mean, he's bounced pretty much every position but middle for us in his time here. I mean, the very first year he started at a libero, and and he's a guy that came in with little to no volleyball experience before he came, and he's working himself into the rotation as starting outside for us this year. Obviously James is going to be a big part of what we do. Andy Ellingham's coming back in. Blake's coming back from some shoulder surgery, so he's working his way back in and going there. So there's a lot of opportunities for youth and our experience to kind of add in and mix go there. Josh Dinkelman's been really doing well on the serve. Zach Smith's been pushing in the serve situation. Everybody's been having flashes so far in practice, which has been good. I've asked our guys to make my job tough on me, and this year for sure it's been very tough for Evan and I, where we've been kind of doing the position battles back and forth, who's where and what's going to happen, which makes us feel good going forward for this year and the future, that not only do we have what we feel is a strong starting lineup, but we've got depth behind it, and guys can feel comfortable in their play, that hey, there's not we can make adjustments and be ready to go, and guys on the bench are ready to go and can contribute as soon as they come in.
How have you seen the three freshmen fit in so far?
Really well. Really well. I mean, obviously there's some times that they got to make adjustments to the game and to the speed of the game and some of the different stuff. But, part of our culture is that we're very inclusive. And I think the one thing that's been nice about this extended break and some of the extra things we were able to do was getting them acclimated and pulled in and going there. And, two of our freshmen are living with upperclassmen already, so they're able to get pulled in and work in it. So I think they're coming along really well, and we're able to do a lot of nice things with them, and they're not skipping a beat.
You talk about depth. I guess going into the season opener, outside of depth, what do you see as being maybe the strengths of this team, or what do you hope will be the strengths of this team? What question marks do you still need answered here in these first few weeks?
We haven't gone live. The one thing that we get in the fall typically is a play date, and where we can throw them out there, go live, and at least see them against somebody else. So there's a lot of questions and marks in that scenario once we just roll them out and the lights get turned up bright and everything gets going, and it's not your own guys on the other side of the net. So just how are we going to respond to that? We've got some positions that are still some really good battles in it, and so we want to see how some guys work out there. We're working on some different things offensively and defensively that we just want to see rolled out. But, I think our strength is that our guys – we do have a lot of experience in this, and our guys have been there. So, in years past when things get a little shaky, it's how are we going to respond? And I think now we're going to be able to respond to some of those, punches that are thrown at us and not reel back and kind of bring in. And I've seen a lot of leadership in those situations where some older guys, even in practice, when things start to get a little bit off the rails, bringing guys in, bringing it back together and getting us refocused and eliminating those long runs, hopefully, and some of those things. So just seeing our experience kind of play out is something that I'm looking forward to.
Now going back to the schedule and talking about the scheduling question, okay, lone non-conference test tonight. Do you put, now obviously it's a big matchup regardless, but do you put more stock into this matchup being that it is your one opportunity before you get into the grind of the conference? I mean, do you expedite the process a little bit in prepping for your next schedule, being that, again, you only get one chance before things count toward the standings?
We approach each match just one match at a time. So I don't think we put any more weight on it. I think we're realistic in it. Again, we're grateful for an opportunity to be playing one of the best programs in the Midwest, perennially. They've got a great culture. Obviously, we do a lot of things they do. We've got a lot of from system-wise and just how we've run it with obviously our backgrounds and our coaching staff going back there with the ties that it's I like to get us out there and see it. And I don't think we put any more weight on it. I don't think we put any other less weight on it. I just think nice thing is coming out against them. We're going to come out the gate against a top-level team, and for us, we get some tape, we come back and we look at it, and then we know what we need to work on and what we got to do. And they're going to magnify some problems for us, and hopefully we can cause some for them, and we can work through it. They've got one of the best players in the country, on the outside. So for us to figure out and go, okay, we know what we're up against. How can we work through it, and can we push? And I think that'll be a big test for one of our incoming freshmen, right there. And we're gonna match them up and see what we can do, and it'll be nice. So we're really looking forward to it. I don't think we're putting extra weight on it. Our matches are our matches. Again, I think part of that is, for us, this is like another conference match in the fact that we have so many conference matches at this level that, we're just adding it as an addition to the NAC. This is replacing our St. Norbert's match that we don't have, 12 conference matches. And so for us, this is a lot like NAC play. So we just got to get ready to get out and go.
And, of course, how special is it for you to get back to Carthage, being that, Carthage, the college itself has certainly played a big role in your life, but also the men's volleyball program. On top of the fact, your grad assistant, Evan Walsh, played for Carthage.
It's nice, but, at the end of the day, there's my alumni piece, and that's, 9 months out of the year I'm alum there. During this time, it's a competitive time. But no, I mean, it's nice to get back. It's nice to go on the court. They get to play in a much nicer Tarbell arena than I did. So it's not even going back to my court. So really, when I go back in, it's nice to see those guys. We know the program. We're familiar with the program. But, again, it's a match. We got to go out and win, and we got to go out and play hard. But, yeah, it's always nice to go back to where you graduated from. And I'm hoping that, that's something that our guys see is a sense of pride that we have where we came from, because we were able to build, we were part of building a program that it is. And that's what we want here, is our guys to be able to come back and have that same sense of pride when they walk into the Concordia gym, years down the road. And maybe some guys are in a coaching position like this, and those different things, but the benefit of that, and that's what we're trying to build, is that kind of thing here in the culture.
And then following this matchup, the home opener, the conference opener, Thursday, February 18th, behind us against Wisconsin Lutheran. They will serve up set 1 of the best of 5 at 7 p.m. Ultimately, it's going to be 5 home dates, 7 road dates, the way the schedule breaks down. You can check it out at cuwfalcons.com. But you mentioned it, and you've touched base on it with the likes of Dominican, Benedictine, MSOE. It's always a tough conference, just, again, among those teams, among others. What do you anticipate from the NAC again this year? More of the same?
More of the same, man. I expect high-level volleyball. I expect a push, man. And we've talked on a lot of different calls and things. It's a matter of time before I think a national championship comes out of this conference. And, obviously everybody would love for it to be that, but at the same time, it's a sense of pride to play in a conference like that. And I'm hoping and expecting, whoever comes out of the top to make a push there, which does that, that poses a problem for us, because we have to play to that level, and that's what we're trying to get to. But I'm expecting great things out of the NAC again. Obviously, it's a different year with very little non-conference play and a lot of parity then, because you can't really compare. It's going to be interesting on the top, being a top 15 voter. How do we do that with a lot of not similar, ways to measure metrics? But yeah, I don't see any reason why we should expect anything different out of the NAC than we do every year, than having top teams in the country battling it out every week. And it's exciting volleyball to watch. As a fan, I think the NAC is someplace that you want to bookmark. And if you like watching good D3 volleyball, that's what's going to happen here on day in and day out, top, middle, and bottom. It's a strong conference.
And a couple of new programs for men's volleyball this season with Wisconsin Lutheran, with Edgewood. Take us back, okay? This is, for you, certainly, I mean, you're no stranger to starting up a program and being in their position now in a non-pandemic year. But what are the challenges to starting a new program, starting from the ground up?
Just getting your guys to buy in, to understand, the difficulties ahead. I mean, I talk with Mike over at WLC a lot. I've known Mike for a very long time. I actually played with his brother growing up, and just kind of getting through those things and understanding that you'll come out the backside. I guess the one hard thing about starting a program, in the NAC, is that you're in the NAC, right? And understanding what's in front of you and finding those small victories and building on the small victories, understanding that, coming out and being, 15-5 probably isn't realistic in a first year in this conference, but just getting those things and really getting them to buy in and finding a way to work the recruiting and get guys to buy into what we can do there and how we can build. And those were all those things that were huge for us. And, they're going to hit their stride. They're going to find their class. They're going to find that pillar class that they build on. And I have all the confidence in the world with what JT and Mike are doing, that they're going to build themselves a very nice program there and keep going. Again, it's just getting through that first year, getting your systems in place, getting your culture in place, and really just letting it take hold. And there's probably no tougher conference in the country to start in, but there's no better conference in the country to start in, because once you hit your ground running, you've got a chance every year.
So let's wrap it all up. Let's summarize this whole interview. Okay, season opener, Carthage tonight, 7 p.m. In your opinion, what are the keys? What needs to happen this season for this team to take that next step?
Got to play discipline. And I always say it a lot, and I know it's oversimplified and it's coach speak, but we've got a lot of dynamic. We find offensively we got a lot of dynamic guys this year. We've got some size, we've got some speed, we got some of that. So if we can play discipline and control first touch, and get a decent hittable ball up and go there. Blocking is a big thing for us. So playing discipline, getting the other teams out of system, getting into our triple block system, and going there. Just being disciplined to our systems and not trying to give into what somebody else does, but do what we do. If we can do that and go, we'll see what happens. Still got to put up 25 before they do. But I think that's a big thing for us is that focus on discipline and that first contact, because I think we've got a lot of pieces in the other places to help keep elevating our games and keep building. And we're excited about the recruiting class we got coming in. Some other guys we're still talking even for the years going forward. And so that's part of it. Is every year we're building for this year, but trying to build onto the next year. And if we can get that first contact under control, I think we got a shot in a lot of matches.
Well, looking forward to it, Coach. As always, thanks a lot for your time, and we'll see you here a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Matt.
Special thanks to Curtis Mattson, the men's volleyball head coach, Ricky Budowitz for women's tennis. Behind the scenes, the brain of the operation, Sam Dunn. Matt Mendel, thanks for joining us. And again, as long as it's safe to do so and we're socially distanced and spraying the air, we'll join you again next week for Falcon Focus on CUWFalcons.com.